Santa Rosa Junior College CS50A Class 2, Assignment 2, Modifying HTML Pages Using the Phoenix Code Editor. We're going to work on a variety of concepts in this exercise, including establishing directory protocols, modifying the code, linking pages, practicing using Phoenix Code Editor, and validating those pages. So as you can see, the submission directions here, this is what I'm going to demonstrate, and let's get started. I've launched Phoenix Code Editor, and I've already completed the first couple of steps, but I will demonstrate them. Select File, Open Folder, and I'm pointing to my CS50A folder, which I created last week, and I also downloaded the Module 2 files from the assignment page last week and placed them inside of CS50A. CS50A is your root folder for this class. So since I've already done that, in the Files panel on the left, we see those files. I'm going to select Lounge Unfinished. This is a file that you don't have. You have Directions, Elixir, and Lounge. But I've completed the code adjustments on those files. I'm demonstrating to you what your page looks like when you first start working on it. So you see in the bottom of Phoenix Code Editor, it indicates that there's a problem with the code, and that's because the language attribute is not added to the HTML tag. So we're going to be working a lot with HTML tags and the attributes associated with those HTML tags. What we're going to do in step 5 of this assignment is modifying Directions, Elixir, and Lounge so they all include certain elements. I'm going to open up the completed Lounge file so you can see that. So we see that I added a new line on line 1 called doctype HTML. We always want to add the doctype declaration so the browser knows what type of document to inspect. And then I have modified line 2 to include the language attribute of the HTML tag. And I'm going to demonstrate this for you just so you can see how easy it is to add code. If I hit space and I type in lang, it automatically pops up and it gives me the quotes. In other words, when you add words within your code, you have to have quotes around it. So it gives me the various languages that I can use, and then I have to close that tag. So once I close that tag, we see the code is seen as correct. After the head tag on line 3, we're adding on line 4 the meta content. And the reason that we do that is because we want to add a character set to indicate to the browser how characters, in other words letters, are going and numbers are going to be interpreted by the web browser. UTF-8 is the Unicode character set, and that covers almost all of the characters needed to write any human languages. So we added that to line 4. Then on line 5 you see the title tag. Each of the title tags on each of your 3 pages that you're working on should be individualized. So one is Head First Lounge, one is Head First Elixir, and one is Head First Directions. Make sure to make those changes as well. And then we see, this is an important thing to remember, the meta tag and the title tag are nested inside of the head tag. We make these changes to all 3 pages. The one other thing that we're going to do to all 3 pages is adding the image after the open of the body tag on line 7. So we see the image I've added is this web development logo, and I've also added an alt tag, and it's important to remember that you need to have alt tags for all of your images, and the alt tag allows people who are using screen readers to have that page described to them, because screen readers are most of the time used by people with visual disabilities. So when there is an image on the page is read to them and the image is described based on the content of your alt tag. So now we are on step 6 of the assignment instructions. We are in the elixir.html page, and on this page we're going to create links to 4 different images, making sure, as I said earlier, to add the alt attribute to each of those images, because the alt attribute specifies an alternate text for those images if the images can't be displayed or if someone is using a screen reader. And now I'm going to show you the finished Elixir page, and you'll see that after each of these paragraph openings, the image will have been entered. So here we see after the first paragraph opening, IMG, SRC, the path to the image, the alt tag, and we are putting in a width. The reason that we're doing that right now is just so you can see that when you add a container for an image, it changes the size of how the image is displayed, but for design purposes, it provides some standardization that is very useful in a design sense. Now, the original image, you can see the dimensions of it within Phoenix Code Editor is 735 pixels wide by 919 pixels high. Now, if this was some 3,000 pixel image and I was trying to shove it into a 300 pixel width container, that could create some problems. But so this is why this issue and this use of the width attribute is something that we'll continue to discuss over the course of the semester. The main thing for right now is to make sure that you add your images, you add your alt tag, and you add your width. So now we're going to open the Lounge page, and this is the completed version of the Lounge page. You'll see that I removed the placeholder image that showed up on the unfinished page. Right there's the placeholder. And I've replaced it with a path to this image, webdev1.jpg, and I haven't added a width to this because I want this to span the width of a typical size web page. And in addition to that, what we're going to do in step B is add a hyperlink from the word directions and add a hyperlink in step C from the word elixirs. So we can see right here's the word directions, and I'm going to demonstrate with this. So I'm going to take this path out, and I'm going to put the cursor in front of directions, and I'm going to type in a space href equal, and then you'll see it provides a path for all of the things that I can hyperlink reference to, and I'm choosing to link to the directions page, and I'm going to close that tag and watch what happens when I do that. It automatically closes the open directions.html. Now right now there's nothing in between the opening tag and the closing tag, so I'm going to type in the word directions, which I inadvertently deleted. But now we see down here in web browser view the word directions, and this is the completed path. One thing to note, when you use a tag for HTML linkage and you have an H tag or a size of the image of the text tag, you want to make sure that you nest one inside of the other. In other words, I'm starting with the H2, I'm opening my ahref, I'm closing my ahref before I close my H2. So the ahref tag is nested inside of the H2 tag. Now I've created a link to directions, and I've also done the same thing with the word elixirs up here. Ignore what I did with google.com up here. This is just something I did demonstrate during class, which is what's called a absolute hyperlink, because I'm going to an href with an HTTP address. That's an absolute hyperlink compared to a relative hyperlink here, where I'm linking to a page within the directory structure of my site.